I went back to Jiangqing's rural hometown for our wedding. His child bride sat among the guests, heavily pregnant. City women are so lucky, they get to marry without having a son. Unlike me, I have to give birth to this baby boy before I can truly be accepted into the Jiang family. Jiangqing immediately tried to soothe me. You away, don't listen to her nonsense. I just comforted her a bit when I broke off our engagement 6 months ago. We agreed, if it's a girl, she won't be brought into the main family. Only if it's a boy, we'll bring him over and raise him together. I turned to look at the other woman. What about her, then? Just as Jiangqing was about to speak, Qingqing suddenly felt nauseous, apparently overwhelmed by the smell of fish and shrimp at the banquet. Jiangqing rushed away from me, right as I was performing the traditional wedding ceremony, to get her warm water. The groom's family and the MC downstairs all started cheering them on. On the stage, I wiped away my tears, tore off my veil, and walked out. My arch-rival, who claimed he'd left the country in a huff and would never return because of me, called me. The mountain road is rough. Give me half an hour. I'm crashing this wedding today, count on it. I stared blankly at the name on the screen, sniffling. How did you know where I was? My arch-rival, Lu Zhaoyan, paused, as if sensing I was crying. His voice softened. Your mom's having an exhibition in Paris. She was having tea with my mom, and well, it just came out. I wasn't trying to track you, but that Jiangqing guy is really bad news, you gotta believe me. He sounded increasingly nervous. Anyway, I've cleared it with my parents and yours. They said as long as you agree, I can take you away. Do you agree? I looked back and saw Jiangqing tearing off his groom's boutonniere to wipe Qingqing's mouth. A sharp pain pierced my heart, and I finally SP. Okay, I'll wait for you. When I returned to the entrance of the hall, Jiangqing visibly relaxed. You away, just be a little more generous. Qingqing doesn't want a formal title, she's just giving us a son. Isn't that a good thing for you? Alright, the auspicious time is almost over, we need to hurry and finish the ceremony. But I should tell you beforehand, you'll have to let Qingqing stay in the bridal suite these few days. Her due date is close, be understanding. Jiangqing said, reaching for my hand. I stiffened and didn't move. He tugged twice but couldn't move me, anger flashing in his eyes. Shin Yuewei, can you stop throwing your spoiled princess tantrums? This is the Jiang family, not your father, Professor Shin's prominent household in Haiqing. We don't have so many rules in the countryside. Are you really that cold-hearted, just watching a pregnant woman suffer? My eyes red, I stared hard at him. Jiangqing, she's carrying your child, and I am your fiancé. If you had any sense of decency, you would cancel this wedding with me right now. Jiangqing froze, looking at me with eyes full of hurt pride. Now you're going to look down on my background? Don't forget, you were the one who chased after me, crying, begging to marry me. When you marry into a family, you follow their ways. Sons stay within the main family line, that's a rule passed down in the Jiang family. If you don't want to finish the ceremony now, then wait until the child is born. Jiangqing coldly picked up Qingqing and walked away from me. Jiangqing's parents sized me up. A woman's biggest use is bearing sons. I don't care if you're a rich girl or a second daughter, Jiangqing is our only son. He wanted to give you a pass and let you in directly, but I won't allow it. To be in our Jiang family, you have to bear sons. Besides, my son is the only PhD for miles around, he's an associate professor, and I hear he's being promoted to full professor soon. Your dad is just a full professor even after retiring, right? And you, his daughter, you're just an art student, TSK. Our Qingji doesn't even fancy you. Mom, why are you telling her all this? Jiangqing returned with a look of displeasure, grabbing my bag from my hand. I'll take the car keys and money first. I'm taking Qingqing to the county hospital for a checkup. You can put together the ceremonial gift money yourself later. The family of 4 took my bag and drove away in the Porsche. An empty wallet and red envelope paper lay on the ground. I pulled out the photo of Jiangqing and me from my wallet. Our smiles were bright, but everything was different now. I blinked, and tears fell onto the photo. I tore the photo into pieces. I first met Jiangqing the summer after my college entrance exams. I was avoiding relatives, hiding in my dad's office drawing. Jiangqing was a junior, coming to the office to drop off experimental data. We met eyes, and I motioned for him to put the stuff on an empty desk. Jiangqing immediately blushed. He stumbled awkwardly as he hurried out. After that, he started coming often. Sometimes, when he talked about his projects, his eyes would light up with excitement. Gradually, my canvas became filled with him. My dad's evaluation of him was mixed. The young man has a quick mind, that's good, but the senior students in his group are all excellent. There's no need for him to wait for me in the office every day. I didn't understand then. Now I get it. If he wanted to climb the ladder, my dad was the most convenient rung. The wedding hall was locked. I stood there in a rough, traditional Chinese wedding dress, my feet numb with cold. As I tried to warm myself, a shadow fell over me. I looked up to see a group of thuggish-looking men. The one with dyed blonde hair at the front eyed my chest lewdly. W. L. Well, isn't this the new Jiang family bride? Brother Jiang said he wanted us to take good care of you. I clutched my chest and recoiled, trembling. But a chilling frost had settled in my heart. My phone rang like a lifeline. We're not home, so I found a few guys to look after you. It's your wedding night. Can't let you be lonely. Jiangqing's voice was cold, but it struck me like thunder. My hands trembled, and my throat felt dry. Jiangqing, do you really need to do this to me? Jiangqing impatiently tisk addition. I heard He Qingqing cry out in pain on the other end. Jiangqing quickly cooed to comfort her, then remembered the call was still connected. His voice turned sarcastic. All right, stop dragging this out. If Qingqing gives birth to a boy this time, you'll be begging me later. The call was cut off ruthlessly. With a look from the blonde thug, two men grabbed my arms. He snatched my phone, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it. His fingers lewdly reached to lift my collar. I struggled desperately, kicking off a high-heeled shoe and stabbing his foot. Just as I was about to fight with everything I had, ready to take down as many as possible, a brick hit the blonde thug's head. Lu Xiaoyan was panting, his face showing a mixture of relief and lingering fear. Who the hell dares touch my wife? Lu Xiaoyan had hot tea and a blanket in his car. By the time I finished a pot of tea and finally calmed down, Lu Xiaoyan had already knocked the three thugs unconscious and shoved them into the trunk. Are you all right? He turned on the dome light, carefully examined the bruises on my face and neck, and pulled out some ointment for me. Maybe put some on? I can raise the partition screen. I pressed his hand down. No need. The pain keeps me clear. Lu Xiaoyan's gaze was heavy with sorrow, but filled with immense tenderness. It was my fault back then. I should have insisted. Edmore, even if you blocked me for 7 whole years. Lu Xiaoyan was the first one to notice something was off about Jiangqing. In his words, it takes one to know one. For example, Jiangqing had saved his sister from the countryside under a single initial in his phone. Anything good I gave him, he'd turn around and mail to this sister. He even made me buy her underwear and things personally. After I chased him for 2 years, he finally agreed to go on a date with me on my birthday. I spent the whole day getting ready, choosing an outfit, but Jiangqing never showed up. The next day, he explained that he had a sudden community service activity and was too busy to check his phone. A while later, Lu Xiaoyan slapped a stack of documents in front of me. He Qingqing isn't his sister. She's his child bride. He didn't go to community service, he was meeting his wife. Chin Yue, you've been fooled. My hands trembled, but I didn't dare open the documents. The biggest mistake I made was not looking at them and instead going to Jiangqing for the truth. Jiangqing kissed me like a man possessed, pressing my fingertips to his burning chest. I didn't touch you because I was afraid of scaring you, my sweet girl. I wanted your family to approve of me, to marry you openly and honorably. His words felt like an invisible ring encircling my heart. I burned the documents and warned Lu Xiaoyan never to badmouth Jiangqing again. Lu Xiaoyan went ballistic and plastered the documents on a billboard in the city center. I had the most intense fight with him we'd ever had. It ended with me blocking him completely. I should have just tied you up and dragged you there to see his child bride sister with your own eyes. Lu Xiaoyan was still fuming, but I just shook my head, not telling him. Even if I had seen Jiangqing and He Qingqing in bed together back then, I wouldn't have believed Lu Xiaoyan. Bika. Use what Jiangqing showed me. Were only images of Lu Xiaoyan threatening Jiangqing to leave Haiqing and hiring people to beat him up on the street. The Lu family had the power, and Lu Xiaoyan had the motive. In my mind back then, Lu Xiaoyan was everything I hated, a idle, arrogant rich kid who flaunted his family's wealth. And Jiangqing, like my dad, was an intellectual who had climbed up from a small town, charming and brilliant. But I never expected that the one with the hidden depths was Jiangqing. And Lu Xiaoyan, that guy, was transparent from the start. I patted his head. Let's go. The wedding in Haiqing is set for 3 days from now. If you're willing, there's still time. Lu Xiaoyan's face turned a little red. It felt strange not arguing with him after so long. I looked out at the vast night, and the slight curve of my lips slowly straightened. Jiangqing needed a recommendation letter from an esteemed academician to be considered for full professor. I had to get the letter my dad wrote for me back. As soon as we reached the entrance of the county hospital, I saw Jiangqing pacing back and forth nervously. The moment he saw me, relief flickered in his eyes, but it quickly turned to anger. Jiangqing strode over and shoved me against the wall. Why weren't you answering your phone? Do you know Qingqing was so agitated by you she might go into early labor? Was it really that hard to bring some stuff from home? My shoulder blade hit the rough wall, scraping painfully. But it was nothing compared to the stab of pain in my heart. I threw my broken phone at his face. You know perfectly well why I wasn't answering, don't you? Jiangqing, we're over. The wedding in Haiqing in 3 days has nothing to do with you. Jiangqing's pupils dilated. Pain and disbelief flashed in his eyes. But soon he sneered. Which of your little friends gave you this idea this time? Trying to force me to choose? What a clever move. Too bad you're wrong. I'm not that cheap college student anymore who relied on your dad's influence to make something of himself. I'll be a full professor after my research results come out later this year. Qin Yuewei, this time I'm not choosing, you are. If you want to be my wife, Jiangqing's wife, you have to accept my family and relatives, including He Qingqing's child. Jiangqing let go and walked away. I stood at the hospital entrance for a moment, wiped away my tears, and entered the room. He Qingqing was in labor, while she and Jiangqing's mother were going through my bag. My custom jewelry and watch were being divided between them. They didn't even spare my perfume and headphones, filling the hospital room with a heavy scent. My dad's recommendation letter was thrown on the ground, trampled with 2 footprints. As soon as they saw me enter, He Qingqing immediately clutched her pocket. Chinga said these things are compensation from you. It's your fault I might go into early labor. If I don't have a son now, I'm not done with you. Exactly. Our precious grandson is about to be born. We don't even want an art student like you who just wastes Qingji's money. Qingji is also too generous, spending so much on a flashy woman like you. As his mother, I'm confiscating them. Jiangqing's mother also strutted around, wearing my necklace. I watched them coldly, only bending down to pick up my dad's recommendation letter. A foot suddenly stomped heavily on my hand. He Qingqing had an innocent look on her face. Oops, why did you suddenly put your hand under my foot? Did it hurt you? And I haven't even asked you yet, how was the experience with the thugs? Let's see you try and steal Chinga from me now. As she spoke, the hard sole of her shoe ground down, drawing blood from my fingers. I couldn't stand it anymore and pushed her away. He Qingqing stumbled 2 steps and fell onto the ground, blood pooling beneath her. At the doorway, the new pregnancy supplies Jiangqing had bought were scattered everywhere. Jiangqing's eyes seemed to hold a storm. He grabbed me with one hand and slammed me against the wall. Qin Yuewei, did you really need to be this ruthless just to force me to marry you? The child is innocent. If anything happens to him, I'm not done with you. My heart felt like it was being squeezed. Aren't you going to ask where the bruises on my face and hands came from? Or what He Qingqing did to me? Jiangqing seemed to notice for the first time and tightened his lips, but at He Qingqing's cry of pain, he panicked and picked her up, rushing towards the operating room. I picked up the things on the ground and threw them at his back. Get out! Don't let me see you again. Jiangqing's steps paused for a moment, but he didn't say a word and strode away. The corridor was in chaos. I felt around on the ground for the recommendation letter, tore it into pieces, and threw it into the trash can. I used Lu Xiaoyan's phone to call the police and report stolen property. I got into his car and left the county. While waiting outside the operating room, Jiangqing felt quite uneasy. Although I had some of the spoiled princess attitude, I never talked about breaking up with him. And I would never joke about the wedding I valued most in my life. Jiangqing couldn't help but call me a few more times. Then he remembered my phone was broken. He should find some time to buy a new one, the couple's phone I always mentioned. As Jiangqing thought this, he received a message on his phone. It was about the suit I had custom ordered 6 months in advance for the Haiqing wedding. The vendor was asking when it would be convenient to deliver it for a fitting. His heart felt a mix of bitterness and warmth. In that regard, I was always exceptionally good to I would always bring the best things to him. The operating room door opened, and his parents and the doctor were beaming. It's a boy, a baby boy. Oh, the Jiang family has a grandson now. Chinga, I finally gave you a son. Give him a name. He'll be a Jiang family member from now on. He Qingqing's face was pale, but her eyes were full of hope as she grabbed Jiangqing's hand. But for some reason, a sudden urge rose in Jiangqing's heart. It was like 5 years ago, when I went to him in the rain, questioning him about He Qingqing. He was panicked and trembling, but he fiercely kept me by his side, afraid I would leave. He felt exactly the same now as he did 5 years ago. He coldly shook off He Qingqing's hand. Since the child is born, I should go. I still owe you a wedding. As for whether the child will be accepted into the Jiang family, we'll see about that later. He turned and left without hesitation, heading to Haiqing that night. 3 days later, at the Shen family mansion, Jiangqing, dressed in a suit and holding roses and a newly bought gift, stood outside the door. He wanted to give me a surprise. I was wearing a white wedding dress, my eyes full of surprised joy, and I ran towards the door. His heart leaped. He remembered how he had fallen for me at first sight because of my smile. But a tall shadow mercilessly pushed him aside. I was embraced tightly by Lu Xiaoyan. Lu Xiaoyan's eyes held a hint of mockery. Mr. Jiang, you don't need to bother with my wife. It wasn't until Lu Xiaoyan and I drove away with the wedding cars that Jiangqing realized. That man was Lu Xiaoyan. The Lu Xiaoyan who had exposed his lies, yet whom I had sent away. Now he was openly at the Shen family mansion and had simply taken me away. His heart suddenly filled with panic. But then he remembered that no matter how many fake pieces of evidence he fabricated about Lu Xiaoyan bullying him, I had always believed him implicitly. He felt a little relieved. He instructed the Shen family housekeeper. Quick, have Zhao drive a car over. I'm going to go get you away back. The housekeeper looked him up and down, rolling her eyes to the sky. Sorry, Mr. Jiang, but our Shen family's son-in-law, young Master Lu, said that all Shen family staff are on wedding leave today and won't be working. You'll have to walk there yourself if you want to get her back. The housekeeper took off her apron and, along with the driver Zhao, got into the Lu family's wedding car. They were gone in the blink of an eye. Jiangqing hadn't been looked down on like this in a long time. His face burned with humiliation. But then he thought, wasn't this also a form of playing the victim? So he lifted his leg and started walking towards the wedding hall. In the wedding car, my dad looked at me with guilt. It's my fault, darling. I shouldn't have let you be so headstrong. Don't worry, I've already talked to the university leadership. Not only will our school not keep him, no other school outside will either. My mom swirled her wine glass. That research funding you asked me to anonymously invest in him back then? I'm already recovering it. I'm also going to investigate if his associate professor title is real and if he was using my money for other things. Lu Xiaoyan also raised his hands in assurance. The Lu family is one of the biggest in Haiqing and Gangqing. No matter where he goes, I'll make sure the disgusting things he did follow him forever. At the wedding venue, academics and prominent figures gathered. Even the news media came to join the fun. Lu Xiaoyan leaned down and whispered in my ear. Seriously, I didn't do it. I swear I only invited the top-tier families in the city. I maintained a polite smile and moved his head away. I knew it. After being framed by Jiangqing for so many years, Lu Xiaoyan was harboring some mischief. Sure enough, halfway through the pastor's sermon, Jiangqing burst in, sweating profusely. Yue, I bought you the heart of the ocean you wanted. Come with me. The heart of the ocean was the necklace Jiangqing's mother had stolen. It was a set of couple's accessories with Jiangqing's tie clip and cufflinks. But after I had bid on and won the set at an exhibition, he had told me to return the necklace because the overall price was too high. Now he had gone and bought the necklace himself. The guests were astonished. Isn't that the unique item from the auction? This young man is quite extravagant. That's Associate Professor Jiangqing, a talented young man, charming and distinguished, and so deeply in love. I heard he and the Shen family daughter are in love. Looking at this, perhaps today's wedding is just a loveless business arrangement. Jiangqing walked towards me confidently. Yue, I was wrong a few days ago. I made you angry, which is why you impulsively decided to marry this good-for-nothing. But have you forgotten how he treated me 5 years ago? He painstakingly tried to break us up. Today is just another trap he set to belittle me and make you give up on me. But he underestimated my courage. Yue, come back to me. You're the only one in my heart. Jiangqing knelt on one knee in front of me, full of emotion. Behind him, the large screen, somehow, began playing footage of Lu Xiaoyan threatening and beating up Jiangqing 5 years ago. In addition, there were scenes from a few days ago of the thugs forcing him to give up the wedding, or else they would ruin his career as an associate professor, leaving him unable to even beg for a living. Combined with the sweat and torn clothes he was wearing, everyone believed him. Oh my god, I thought young Master Lu was just a wastrel, but I never expected him to be so overbearing, even daring to harm a national talent. Then isn't Miss Shen marrying into a terrible situation? Thankfully, Jiangqing is devoted enough to stand up against a powerful family like the Lus. Haha, evil gets its comeuppance. If I were Shen Yue, I would have eloped with Jiangqing long ago. Lu Xiaoyan was instantly enraged, clenching his fists, ready to go hit him. I stopped him and walked over to Jiangqing. A flicker of undetectable triumph crossed Jiangqing's lips, but his eyes were filled with pity. Yue, even if you marry him, Lu Xiaoyan is openly using my situation at your wedding for attention. Does he really have you in his heart? He doesn't care about you at all, doesn't care that you'll be discussed and looked down upon by everyone here. All he cares about is taking what's mine and ruining my reputation. Jiangqing's philosophy of striking first was always fully implemented. Even if he couldn't stop the wedding, he would plant a thorn in my heart. I took a deep breath, about to call someone to remove him. But Lu Xiaoyan pressed down on my hand. He looked meaningfully at Jiangqing on the ground, a contemptuous smile playing on his lips. Jiangqing, this time I'm going to make you lose fair and square. He raised his hand and called for his assistant. The picture on the large screen changed. A look of triumph appeared on Jiangqing's face. Lu Xiaoyan, your true colors are finally exposed. Even if you slander me and reveal dirt like me climbing the ladder using Professor Shen and having a child bride and illegitimate son, so what? Yue knows what a scoundrel you really are. She won't believe you. She'll only love me. Soft, sweet music filled the hall. When the new image appeared, Jiangqing froze completely. The screen wasn't displaying dirt on Jiangqing. It was footage of Lu Xiaoyan and me throughout our past. He deliberately challenged me to competitions to provoke me, but after we argued in anger, he would stare at my retreating back in a daze. He gathered the courage to casually drop tickets to his game in front of me, only to watch the empty seat sadly because I didn't show up. Encouraged by his friends, he bought a bouquet and decided to confess to me, but I excitedly ran to tell him I had fallen in love with someone else at first sight. He was jealous, bitter, but all he could do was act as a sharp-tongued love advisor by my side. Until we had our big fight, and I blocked him completely. Lu Xiaoyan did go abroad, but he constantly urged his mom to visit my mom and pump her for information about me. His friends abroad were curious about the girl on his phone screen. His eyes were filled with melancholy, but his voice was incredibly firm. She's the person I want most to be happy. One day, I'll make her the happiest bride in the world. The video didn't contain any revelations about Jiangqing. Not even his name or a glimpse of his figure appeared. Jiangqing collapsed onto the ground in disbelief. Lu Xiaoyan's eyes were full of pride. I will never allow any pain or unpleasantness at the wedding of the woman I love. My love doesn't need comparisons or hurt to prove itself. He turned and knelt on one knee before me, completely earnest. Xin Yuewei, I don't want to be your arch rival. I just want to marry you, to be your only husband. Will you marry me? I covered my mouth in surprise, tears of happiness filling my eyes. I lunged forward and hugged him tight. I will! The hall erupted in cheers, confetti cannons fired, and camera flashes popped incessantly. In a corner no one noticed, Jiangqing, like a defeated rooster, left the wedding venue dejectedly. Outside, He Qingqing, who had been stopped by bodyguards, latched onto him like a drowning woman finding a lifeline. Chenga! That bitch Xin Yuewei is inside. Let's go ruin her. Say she was married to you and she's damaged goods. See if anyone still dares to marry her. Jiangqing's face was cold. He backhanded He Qingqing, sending her sprawling. She had just miscarried, and her wound hadn't healed. With the fall, blood gushed from below her. Chinga, my stomach hurts so bad, save me. Jiangqing ignored her completely and turned to leave. But He Qingqing lunged and grabbed his leg, refusing to let go. Chinga, you can't abandon me and our parents. It was that bitch Xin Yuewei who called the fake police report and got our whole family arrested. We returned the stuff, but they still want us to pay compensation. Who knew that car and those pieces of jewelry were so expensive? She's a Jiang family bride who didn't even finish the ceremony. She doesn't even have a son. How dare she be so arrogant? Chinga, hurry and call Xin Yuewei out. Tell her if she doesn't let mom and dad go, she can forget about this wedding. Xin Yuewei, you used up slut. You just want to steal my son. I'm telling you, I'll kill myself right here in this wedding hall today. See how you can still get married. He Qingqing, bleeding from below, dragged herself towards a pillar, a terrifying sight. But Jiangqing grabbed her by the hair and dragged her back. His voice was bone-chillingly cold. Today is her wedding. No one is allowed to disturb her happiness. Not even you. Jiangqing, face grim, dragged He Qingqing outside, completely ignoring the blood smearing her body from the rough ground. When they reached the busy downtown area, the surrounding billboards changed. They displayed the truth that had been delayed for 5 years. While dealing with his child bride at home, he was dating his professor's daughter. He deliberately asked his girlfriend for expensive gifts, only to turn around and sell them for money or send them to his family. He looked down on He Qingqing, but couldn't resist meeting her at hotels when she came looking for him. And afterwards, he would send fake photos to his girlfriend, claiming he was busy with community service. A few days ago, the rich young lady finally went with him to his rural hometown for the wedding. But he abandoned his fiancée, brazenly holding his pregnant child bride, and drove away in his fiancée's luxury car. My name and image on the screen were hidden, only the scumbag and child bride were exposed. For the first time, Jiangqing felt a deep, piercing inferiority. His family background couldn't compare to Lu Xiaoyan's. Even his inner nobility and love for me couldn't measure up. If he were Lu Xiaoyan, he would have wanted to play the video of me and the scumbag from the wedding hall out in the streets for everyone to see. Jiangqing closed his eyes in agony. But then people recognized him as the person in the video and started shouting insults and hitting him. He covered his head and fell to the ground. In a daze, he remembered a similar scene 5 years ago, when he was exposed. It was me who reached out, who protected him fiercely. That's how he managed to appear so successful until today. But now, I had long been pushed away by his own hands. No one came to save him anymore. He could only curl up helplessly in the crowd's fury. Suddenly, footsteps sounded in front of him. Jiangqing looked up with a flicker of hope. But he saw police officers showing him their badges. Mr. Jiang, Ms. He, you are involved in the case concerning the infringement of Ms. Shen Yuo's rights. Please come with us. The 3 thugs Lu Xiaoyan caught were sent directly to the police station right away. He even hired a top-tier lawyer to handle the case. As soon as Jiangqing and He Qingqing were taken into custody, Lu Xiaoyan received the news. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. I glanced at him. So happy? I never noticed before, you're quite the reserved one. I was always happy inside. What can I say? Some people have a massive family fortune, yet they look down on my massive family fortune, the kind that lets you live a rich life just by existing, right? Lu Xiaoyan nudged my shoulder, hinting. Across the dining table, my mom and Lu Xiaoyan's mom were competing to offer us private jets, global mansions, luxury resorts, for our honeymoon. My mom's true identity was the only daughter of the Gu family. Years ago, she was determined to elope and married my dad, a poor young man. Life was simple in the first few years of their marriage, but my dad never let my mom suffer. He worked hard to get an exceptional promotion to professor and gradually gained fame in the academic world. But at home, it was always my mom first, me second, and him last. Jiangqing always looked down on me for not inheriting my dad's sharp mind, saying my math was terrible. In fact, I took after my mom. I started drawing at 3, and by the time I met him, my art exhibitions had already reached Paris. I once thought I could be as lucky as my mom, that I could find a hidden treasure. But I never expected that the real treasure was right beside me all along. Lu Xiaoyan smiled and put his arm around me. Moms, stop arguing. I already have everything planned. We're leaving in 3 days. I promise my darling Yuewei will have an amazing time. 3 months after returning from our honeymoon, just getting off the plane, I was startled by the news on my phone. Young Professor Jiangqing publishes major theoretical results, wins highest academic achievement award, openly tries to win back girlfriend Shen Yuewei during award ceremony broadcast. On the screen, Jiangqing held the trophy, his eyes full of pain and loss. This award should be received by Yuewei. It was she who encouraged me to pursue my academic path. I made an irreversible mistake and disappointed Yuewei. But now, I am willing to dedicate his award and all my achievements to her. My only hope is that she will hear my apology and come back to me. Yuewei, I know you can hear me. Let's meet at our old spot. Lu Xiaoyan and I exchanged glances. When we arrived home, Jiangqing was blocking the entrance. Behind him, countless live broadcast cameras and flashing lights surrounded him. He knelt before me, holding a ring and the trophy. Yuewei, I truly regret it. I'm not afraid to admit in front of all these people how despicable I once was, being with you while entangled with my child bride He Qingqing, even letting her carry my child at our wedding. I was so afraid of these shameful things being exposed to you. I lived behind a mask with you every day, and even when I was exposed, I fabricated evidence to deceive you. My whole life, I struggled between my genuine feelings and my baseness. Now I can honestly tell you, I have achieved the same level of success as Professor Shen. I am qualified to give you a lifetime of happiness. The only person I truly love is you. The crowd buzzed with discussion. Holy cow, this scumbag is actually admitting what he did. But that's the highest academic achievement award. It makes more sense for a daughter from an academic family like Shen Yuewei to marry a genius professor than a rich second generation. And he seems genuinely sorry. Men, who hasn't made a few mistakes? Besides, he's reformed. What's Shen Yuewei still putting on airs for? Lu Xiaoyan nudged me and showed me his phone. It was my mom's public post online, detailing Jiangqing's project. Comparison showed that Jiangqing had not only heavily misappropriated public research funds but also was suspected of fabricating data and falsifying academic achievements. This highest academic achievement award was built on a foundation of fraud. The article was written by my dad. The explosive news was pushed across the entire internet. Phones around us rang incessantly. Their gazes shifted from accusing me to looking at Jiangqing with contempt. Only Jiangqing, still kneeling in the middle, seemed completely unaware. Yuewei, believe me one last time. This time, I promise I'm sincere. Jiangqing's eyes were full of pleading. He even went so far as to bow his head to Lu Xiaoyan in apology. Lu Xiaoyan recoiled in disgust. But I didn't doubt Jiangqing's sincerity at all. He had always been extremely image-conscious. To confess his mistakes in front of so many people now, he must truly regret it. It was just a pity that this sincerity came too late, and it was built on a false foundation. I showed him the news article with pity. Jiangqing instantly froze. How is this possible? How could anyone know the details of my experiment? I shook my head. Did you really think someone would invest hundreds of millions in research funding for a novice young man? Jiangqing, that person was my mom. Jiangqing completely broke down. He stared at the phone in disbelief. This is impossible. The one who invested in me was clearly Gu Corp, the biggest conglomerate in Haicheng. How could it be your mom? He fumbled with his phone, searching for my mom's name. But he saw that my grandfather had publicly announced that the heir to the Gu Group was his only daughter, Gu Jin. All life drained from his eyes. I had told him about my parents' story. I had also told him my mom's name. But Jiangqing always looked down on my mom, who never had to lift a finger, and he looked down on the art I learned to do with her. How could he possibly have noticed where my mom's name appeared? I turned and walked away. Ignoring the crowd around him, Jiangqing lunged and clutched my dress hem, kneeling at my feet. You away, you can't leave. You're the only one I have left. I gave up my parents, I gave up Qingqing. I abandoned everyone, even resorting to F. just to reach the same level as you, hoping you would look back at me again. For the sake of everything I sacrificed for you, you away, don't leave me alone. But Lu Xiaoyan kicked his hand away. He covered my ears and picked me up, carrying me directly into the Shin family mansion. Where's this pesky frog croaking? Mom and Dad are waiting for us inside. Outside, Jiangqing's heartbreaking roars echoed. 3 months later, Lu Xiaoyan and I came out of the hospital checkup, with a little sprout growing in my belly. But the news reported Jiangqing had committed murder. It turned out Jiangqing had initially convinced his parents and Qingqing to confess to the crimes, thus removing himself from suspicion. Relying on his past achievements, although he was expelled from the university, a smaller institution was willing to accept him. But he didn't expect his data fabrication to be exposed, and with my complete rejection, he plummeted from grace, reviled by everyone. In despair, he brought poisoned pastries to visit his family in prison. He poisoned his entire family. As Qingqing lay dying, Jiangqing shoved the photo of the child he had strangled in front of her. It's all because you gave birth to this bastard, because you found people to bully you away and frame me. Otherwise, why would you away have left me? With her last breath, Qingqing bit through his throat. As he was being rushed to the hospital, fireworks suddenly erupted across the city. All the billboards lit up, celebrating Lu Xiaoyan and my joyous pregnancy. Jiangqing lay on the cold stretcher, watching my happy smile with Lu Xiaoyan, his pupils gradually dilating. Only a single tear of regret remained in the corner of his eye, falling into the dust.